So this question is this water level in a storage tank question. And it has this big storage tank of water up on the hill, and the water goes through some pipe, and then it goes up into your house into some faucet. But this is really just a manometer question in disguise, right? So that's why I've drawn it this way. I've drawn it to look like just your manometer. So up here is the storage tank, right? And what do we have acting up here? Well, we have some atmospheric pressure acting at the top there. Down here is where the faucet is. So this is actually capped because the faucet has a pressure gauge on it, so no water is actually coming out of the faucet, even though it's on. And what is the pressure that reads here? Well, it's the pressure from the gauge plus atmospheric pressure, right? The gauge pressure reads pressure above atmospheric pressure, but we know that atmospheric pressure is on top of it as well, right? So, and we know that from this line to this line, this is the height of water that we're interested in, right? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to use this trick where we have two pressures, P1 and P2 on this side. And we know that because these are connected, right, by this fluid, and they're at the same level, that pressure 1 must be equal to pressure 2. Okay. Well, what's pressure 1 equal to? Well, pressure 1 is the gauge pressure plus atmospheric pressure, right? And what's P2 equal to? Well, P2 is equal to the atmospheric pressure acting from the top of the tank plus the weight from this column of water here, right? Which is rho GH, and this is rho of water, right? And we see something sort of fun happens. We see that these atmospheric pressures actually cancel out, and we're actually given this equation. H is equal to Pg over rho water times gravity, right? And we have all these numbers, right? We have that the gauge pressure is reading 3.1 atmospheres, and the density of water is 1,000 kilograms per meter cubed, and gravity is 9.81 meters per second squared. I guess the thing to remember here is that atmospheric pressure is 101,000 pascals, right? So we want to make sure when we actually type our numbers into the calculator, we're using the correct units, right? So using that and these numbers, I get that the height is 30.9 meters, right? One thing to note, right? So the height of this is 30 meters, and there's 3 atmospheres. The pressure then must increase by about 1 atmosphere for every 10 meters of depth in water. So that's actually pretty wild to think about. You go 30 feet or 30 meters under the water, and you've increased the pressure by 1 whole atmosphere, which, as we learned earlier, is quite a bit.